Well, hello! I want to welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I look at the pens and inks that I've been using throughout the week. So, let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, maybe you have some experience with one of these pens that you'd like to share, or possibly you would like to dive into the hard versus soft argument, or I've got a random topic at the end you may wish to discuss too, so I would invite your comments. So let's take a look at the pens that I've been using this week. So this fella's been through the wars, possibly literally. This is a Watermens Ideal 52. I have a Waterman Karen. I have my lovely Lamy 2000. I have a Platinum 3776 with a music nib, which you saw pulled out last week and used for the first time in several months, and it started like a champ. I have a Shafer Balance. Well, I'll talk about it when I come back to the pen. I have a Shafer Imperial 330. It didn't go by the name Imperial, but I'm going to give it that name for reasons you'll see when I do finally film the review. I have a Parker Sonnet, purchased right here in Fargo. Well, I'm not in Fargo, North Dakota, but purchased in Fargo, North Dakota. So at least it's in the same state, even if it's the opposite end. A Parker Duofold, and finally an interesting Picasso Greek Irene. As always, I've been doing this in a Bomo art journal. This is a Hungarian-made journal actually made in Budapest, Hungary. So let's take a look at how these guys write. You will see this notebook exactly one more week, and then it's filled, unless I decide to start writing on the backs of pages. So the Watermens Ideal 52 is an older pen, probably from the 1920s. It's made out of ebonite, which is a hard rubber. You may be able to make out that it has sort of a chaste design. And you may also notice that it's green, and you're thinking, well, they didn't sell green pens like that. That's the effects of sunlight on ebonite. Also, there should be a clip, and there is no clip. Yeah, it must have attached right there. So that was broken off. And I know that it used to be black because where the cap covered it is still black. So I don't know if there's a way to restore that or not. I don't care. I like the pen, and this look definitely gives it a story. This is a pen that was certainly used, or at a minimum was left to lay on a windowsill at some point. So this is a Watermens Ideal. I have an Instagram channel, an IGTV, to go with this, where I talk about fountain pens. Basically, I pick out pens that I have inked this week and try to make a story out of them, with the occasional foray into something else. This is going to be part of the story, because I want to talk about soft versus hard versus, I don't want to call this wet noodle, but vintage type flex. And I think I have the pens to do it. So we'll see. The ink in it is an interesting brand. I don't know much about them except that they market themselves as being very safe. Califolio Havane. I don't typically go for brown inks, but as brown inks go, this isn't a bad one. So that will be in my IGTV video tonight. I have its newer relative, younger relative, a Watermens Karen. Well, Waterman Karen. They dropped the apostrophe S. A lot of the pens did. A lot of the pen makers, I should say. This is in a amber marine finish, which even with all the lights I have now, I really struggle to show it as I see it in front of me. But that is a nice finish, and I don't usually like metal pens. And of course, it's a inlaid nib. Oh, come on. It's a medium. I have thought about purchasing a broad. I see that they're for sale on nibs.com. I may yet do that. We'll see. So this is a Waterman Karen. And it's medium. Very wet pen. The ink I'm using in it is one I haven't used in a while, but I like it. I just don't know why I haven't used it. A Noodler's Black Swan. In English Rose. Which has some interesting properties. Nathan Tardif did a video on it if you're interested in exploring those properties further. The Lamy 2000 is my daily writer. This is the pen that goes with me everywhere. And I use all the time in the winter and just keep filling every time it gets empty. And don't typically clean it out unless it's really gross at Christmas time or something. Because I like writing with it. This pen just feels good. I have several more expensive pens, but I keep coming back to this one. Not even the most exciting ink in it, but it's a daily writer. Last week I pulled this pen out, the Platinum 3776 with the sharp finish. This was a music nib, and I'm slowly collecting video on these pens as I ink them up after sitting for a month or more. And this one I believe had been 3 months. Don't remember for sure. But started right up like a champ. Has a music nib, which sometimes I think is a little dry, but then other inks I think, oh, not so much. Besides the 3 tines, another thing that makes a music nib different from a stub, let's say, is the fact that it's tipped. I suppose the idea was you can have thin strokes like that and thick strokes like that. But I'm just thinking of musical notes, and I don't get it. I don't know. But then again, I'm not a musician. I know how to read music. That's about it. Okay, so last week I had a little bit of help from Pierre Gustafson to figure out this pen. So I'm glad I was delayed in filming the review. I'm actually going to film the review of this over this Labor Day weekend. This is a Shafer Balance 350. I was unsure at the time if it was the rose glow or the carmine finish. And so Pierre Gustafson was kind enough to do a video where he did a close-up of the difference, because apparently he has access to both. I do not. I've got this one and that's it. So it looks like I have a carmine finish. Oh, there we go. That's better lighting on it. Apparently, I don't know if that's chewing or it's age, but it's on both ends. When I look at it, it's not quite like tooth marks, so I'm not sure what it is. Part of the joys of an old pen, I guess. So this is a very fine writer. I don't have a nib size for it, of course. So I just call it a Shafer Balance. The ink in it is Parker Quink. Washable blue. which may not be the most popular ink, but it has its fans. Beside it, I have another pen I plan to film and review this weekend. This is a Shafer, I put it in parentheses, Imperial, because it's part of that line, 330. It's fairly simple. It would have been a low-cost pen of the 1970s. Nice inlaid nib. Nothing exotic about the filler, just a aerometric filler. It also could take cartridges. This pen, actually, the first day of school this year became a pen of use because somehow I left the Lamy 2000 at home. So, oh wow, I'm talking instead of writing. Shafer Imperial in parentheses. This is a very nice pen to write with, and it kind of has that ear thing going on like a Lamy 2000, but perhaps not to the same degree of sticky outiness, but there's more ears. The ink in it is Parker Quink. Blue-black. I purchased this Parker Sonnet when I was in Fargo this summer to take a class. It's an older one. I don't have my reference for the date codes down here, so I'll just show it to you, but if I remember correctly, it's from sometime in the 90s. So, it's a nice, simple, attractive pen that just simply works. Don't expect flex or anything, but it does write very well. And honestly, do we have to have every pen flexing? There is a place for all sorts of nibs. And the ink in it is Noodler's Purple Heart. And I'm looking at my ink collection and knowing the two pens that are coming, and I feel like I need to ink up a pen in green because there is no green here. No orange. Nothing really bright this week. Some of the pens are. Okay, last one will be bright. This one, Parker Duofold. Now, I have heard a couple of stories about this. This is their, after they redesigned all their pens in 2017, this is what became the Parker Duofold. So they kept the three trim rings here that had become kind of the mark, but they hint at them by making a single piece. I've been told to look for the date code, but I know it's post-2017. I've been told to look for the date code on the cap, which I had never found it there. I've seen photographs of it on the cap. I've been told to look on the barrel, of course. I've been told to look at the black finial. I have not found a date code anywhere. I've looked on the section. So I've got two things left. One of the things that's left is I was reading that some pen stores would get the pens separately. So they get they'd cap them, and sometimes both the cap and the pen body would have a number on them, and then the other companion pen wouldn't have either one. But another thing, I was reading that these are individually numbered. So I went looking, because I couldn't find that either. So France, and then indeed, we do have a number. Now what that number means, I don't know. Does it tell me 2018, October, pen number 24? I really have no idea. So if anybody can give me more information about either that code or about where the heck is this date code, I would sure appreciate it. So this is still a very nice pen. I have a little bit drier ink in it. So the ink is platinum. Whoops, Platinum. Wow, totally misnamed it. Platinum Classic. Cassis Black. Which, as you watch it, starts to age and get darker. And finally, an interesting pen that I just sort of picked up for fun because it was cheap. Picasso Greek Irene. I'm sure there's a story behind the name. I just don't know what it is. A very interesting tulipy cap. And I think I showed you last week that it's not a nice one for putting in your pocket. So the cap comes off and it reveals a mostly hooded nib. I don't know if I want to call it semi-hooded or hooded. So we'll call it mostly hooded. So this is the brightest ink I have going today. It's a limited edition ink, Lamy Coral. And all sorts of fun. So those are the inks and pens that I've been using this week, and as you can see, not the brightest collection of ink colors this week. Probably not as much rotation as you'll see in some weeks either, but it is what it is. One thing I've been adjusting to at school this week, speaking on the topic of pens, is our school has now gone to one-to-one devices. So each student has a computer in hand. Now, what our school chose to do with the elementary students and the junior high students, we went with a thing called a BEC. It's like a Microsoft Surface, but a lot more rugged. The keyboard and screen are permanently attached. The pen is attached by a string, so it can't come loose. But it can fold over and be in tablet mode, and then they can hand write on it with the pen, which I think is great. Now, I am a paper pencil guy. There are a few things that I like about this. I've been teaching my students how to use OneNote software and learning how to use OneNote software at the same time. I'm totally okay with them handwriting on paper. You can photograph it, put it in OneNote. OneNote's very flexible that way. Of course, the high school has the Microsoft Surface. Wish I had one. Did get a new laptop from the school though this year, which was great because otherwise I'd have been up a creek because the computer I had was awful. It was so slow and it couldn't run a lot of the stuff. So, I was going to spend my summer getting everything ready. Well, guess what? I didn't because I couldn't. So I got the computer a week or so before school. So, guess we know what I'm spending a lot of Labor Day weekend doing. Laboring. But I wanted to just add a few thoughts about one-to-one. One-to-one doesn't mean paper and pencil and pen is gone. What it is one more tool in your toolbox. There is a time and a place for all of it. I like it for organizing, keeping everything together. I like it for students submitting work. I like it, instead of carrying home a box full of notebooks or something, or a big stack of papers, I bring home my school laptop. It's good from that perspective. It's good because I can just glance at certain students and see what they're doing. It eliminates I put my science notes in my history notebook because I can't keep straight what notebook I'm using. That whole excuse is gone. But at the same time, I'm also discovering, and this would be a lesson if you're looking at one-to-one, or if you have a kid in your life, we like to think that the young are more technologically savvy. It's the young that will embrace things like Snapchat and Instagram and MySpace and all that stuff. And all of us are just like, what? A MySpace? Is that like a face space? What? We don't get it. And then we try to be hip and we try to join in. I have an Instagram account now. I do have a Facebook account. I don't have MySpace. Then you look at what kids are doing with them, and it's just like, okay, I'm doing a YouTube channel. Well, you look at the younger generation of pen reviewers, you see a totally different world, totally different presentation, totally different style. They're just more savvy with it. And so that leads us to think that our kids are more savvy with technology. And I will grant you that in certain aspects they are. But what I have been finding is that they really don't know the more fundamental user skills. Like, where did you save your file? Word? No, Word is a program. Where did you save it on your computer? With Word? So that whole directory structure, and of course we're trying to get them to use OneDrive because they have Microsoft 365 accounts through the state. That's fun. Teaching them, why don't you put your science stuff in one folder and your history stuff in another and your economics in another, instead of blopping it all together. And hey, let's not call it by random names like JoJo's Good Time Thingy. You're not going to remember what you meant by that tomorrow or next week. When I say, okay, why don't you pull out your baking soda lab results? Which one is it? I don't know, you saved it. Why didn't you call it baking soda lab in your science folder? Those fundamental skills. And you talk to a lot of college professors, they just assume their students know how to email a paper to them, submit electronically, use Word. No. Now, kids will focus on the fun features. Oh, look, I can do all these different crazy fonts. Oh, look at all the colors I can do. Look at the designs I can do. I don't like to assign PowerPoint because what's the kid want to do? Let's have a sound effect on every slide and an animation on every slide. No. How about we focus on content and then add in those other things if they add to the content? So it's all things that we're teaching kids. And I'm struggling to get them to understand that, yes, you can use OneNote through your browser. But why don't you use the app on your device because it's a lot faster and has more features? And then they try using it through their browser again because, what, an app? Everything's on the internet. So it's been interesting, we'll just say that. I see I've got 6 minutes left to rant about OneNote and online. But I am impressed by OneNote. Now, personally, I'm an Evernote user, but one of the areas Evernote is lacking is handwriting integration. OneNote is more flexible for actual note-taking. Evernote is much better for what I use it for. A lot of is collecting information off the internet, or like I have the show notes. In fact, the show notes you see in the description below this video are copied and pasted from Evernote because I just assemble them there ahead of time. It's very good for me for finding information. OneNote, not so much. So I guess I have room for both in my life. I like my paper notebooks. They won't be going anywhere. But there is a place for this electronic. I like my paper notebooks for my own writing. I actually do like them for classes, but boy, I as I was showing kids stuff, I could see, oh, this is a neat feature where you do something here, you do something here, and then, oh, I need to put a big bunch more information up here. Well, on paper, you draw an arrow and say, this goes here. With OneNote, there's a little thingy you click, and you just drag, and everything down here just gets pushed down. You've got the space you need. And, oh, I left too much space. Well, I'll just go whoop and take it away. So that's a neat feature. I think after this first week or two, they'll get the hang of it. Part of it is just they don't know what they're doing, so you have to tell them all these things where if we were doing paper, we wouldn't have to tell them. But I think after a while, they'll get that figured out. My hope is that out in the non-high school world, they will be comfortable with a machine, they will be comfortable with saving, they will be comfortable with using different programs, and actually using a computer for something more than a way to play games or a way to socialize with their friends or watch YouTube videos about fountain pens. So that's my hope anyway. It may be a big hope, I don't know. But I'm through my second week. You can hear, it's Thursday night as I film this. You can hear my voice is a lot better. Last week, I think I could have filmed on Friday, but I wouldn't have sounded good. I would have been very hoarse. But vocal cords are recovering, and now they have Labor Day to really recover. I don't have too much more to add to that. Or did I? Yes, I'm doing a live stream on Sunday. That'll be September 2nd. It'll be 3 o'clock Mountain Time. Now, for those of you who aren't in the United States, that would be, my time zone in the summer would be UTC minus 600. So, I don't have anything intelligent to add to that. So, yeah, we'll just go with that. I'm estimating about an hour. I'm willing to go as far as 2 hours. After that, I just can't talk that long. So I'll have to cut it off. And I apologize. I know for some of you it's late at night. I was looking for a time when I could do it. So I went with 3 o'clock. I know that there are some other live streams that go on Sunday earlier in the day, and I didn't want to interfere with them. So that's why I picked 3. And it won't be the last one. If this goes well, I'll probably do another. It'll be a while, but I'll do another one. So look forward to that. So that camera quit temporarily. It said camera is busy, and I don't know why. So when you saw me disappear there, camera got busy. So I have nothing more to add. I think I've talked enough, and I still need to record an Instagram video tonight because tomorrow I will be at a football game and won't get home till probably 9 o'clock or so. So I want to film that Instagram video tonight, and I decided they're just going to have to be uploaded late. YouTube is nice. I can schedule these, but yeah, Instagram, not so much. One of the many features it's lacking. But I try to do a different kind of show there. So there is a pen that you didn't see in Pens in Use because I'm not ready to show it on this channel, but it will be in the Instagram video. And so, excuse me, if videos like, I'm going to have to get a drink of water before I do that Instagram video. So if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And if you'd like to comment on any of the pens you saw here tonight, or indeed if you'd like to comment on one-to-one in schools, maybe you have some thoughts. I feel like that's a driving video topic for the future. I would love to hear from you because, like I said, I think that's a driving video topic. So I thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.